All right, so we're gonna do a little recap on or Canyon City, and I'm gonna tie this into Central City into Salida, and it's gonna make sense. The more and more you kind of see this, and the more and more I point out in each one of these videos. I'm trying to do them different each time, just to break it up because there's so much information to cover, and you have to. I'm basically trying to help deprogram you guys to help you guys see what really happened to us. Okay, so let's just kind of do a recap on it. And Canyon City was the first organized by the Canyon City Club or Claim Club on March 13th. So, tell me dates. 1860. So, and then this is what I want you to see. In 1861, the town raised two companies of volunteers to serve with the Second Colorado Infantry during the Civil War. Okay, so how is it they just barely founded each other, or founded Canyon City, and then they were able to send about 200 men to go fight in the Civil War? And if we look at this picture, they're telling us that this is 1870 war. So that means 10 years has happened because that would have been 1864. So they raised two companies for what they said through history. And like I said, when you look at the towns, and each town has its own unique, but it also has its own unique disasters that are easily to mark out time in history. Okay, so the other one was when you understand that they've been conquering us by buying and dividing companies, and you'll have to go through that. That's one of the things that I'll cover in this video is we're going to go read basically the history of what really transpired. But I wanted you to see this before we really started on. So the state penitentiary wasn't till 1871, and then if you go, there was an escape, and I didn't write it down on this one. But anyway, so there was an escape. They talk about how they had to ask for money, and the thing is in my drive, if you go to my drive, I have collected all the information for you guys to put it all together to really look at it. And I'm still cleaning it up, so I apologize for that. But there is so much information to cover to really prove this, and it's a yeah, it's a theory, but I have factual historical records that are proving my case and everyone else's case that feels time has been altered, our past has been altered. So let's continue on with this. We will go into Central City in the territory of Colorado Correctional Facility. And the way I could show you guys the history and tell you where we're at in photographs, if you look right here, this house was not built until 1901 using prison labor. Okay, so that house will eventually go about right here. And so let's look through history quick. Still not there. Done a lot more work, though. I went through this on the last video. A lot more houses come in, a lot more trees being planted. Still not there. Well, still not there. More trees, more trees. This one's a little bit, yeah, more trees, a lot more trees. Still not in there. 1901, they say they built that, huh? Okay, let's continue on. Huh, still not there. Still not there. Still, still not there. And you can look right here is where it's going to go. And they haven't even finished building the wall yet. They just started building another building right here. And this is all within basically 25 years. Hmm. Yeah, and this crazy roof design. I'm really I really want to go search for those photographs, but this has been so important trying to get you guys to help understand like there is something there. Here's the proof. Now, when we go really look back at history and critically think about it and look at it for what it's really telling us, you're going to see that they have been playing this game for a very long time. And it's kind of like the jungle to the sense. Let me see if where I put that at. Atlas Shrugged. And this is a book, a movie. It talks about basically the United States and how a dystopian United States was so wealthy, and then all of a sudden they started breaking up, bankrupting companies and merging them and so forth. Now, this isn't exactly like what probably happened to our history, but they are telling you a side that did happen with all of these mergers. And it's a good film to watch. That way you can kind of wrap your mind around it and see what's really being told to you. So this house wasn't built till 1901, and I showed you in these photographs that it just, yeah, history is not what they've told us. Okay, so the fire of Central City, and this is showing the aftermath of it. I mean, just pretty much roasted the place, right? I mean, and so I'm going to tell you this is way early in history because this is the environmentalist that I'm so gonna you guys are so going to have a heart attack when you figure this out. When you look at all of the background here, there are no trees whatsoever, like none. And this is supposed to be Central City. And you can see them starting to rebuild a wood frame right here for housing again, but there is hardly anything. And remember, this is up in high elevations. So they only have really honestly about 6 to 7 months of the year that they can really physically work because one, it'll be too much snow and too cold. And then in the summer, it's kind of the opposite where you have too much rain and makes mud and you can't do anything. So, that's where you have to. They're the way they tell history is we came in, slammed in the United States, and basically went to the West in the 1860s, and we pounded all this stuff out in basically 40 years, no questions asked. Where did we get all the money? Well, let's find out where they got the money. Let's see. Central City. Appearance today is very similar to how it looked over 100 years ago, after the fire of 1874. Okay, so we have a marker in time. They're telling you this is after 1874. My drive is full of everything that I've collected on this. Please go through it and look. Once you figure it out, you're going to want to go through this like a fine tooth comb because it'll start leading to all the answers that you've probably been looking for most of your life. Okay, so the train didn't get there till 1875, I think is what I read. Anyway, the importance of it, and I'm going to tell you why it's so important, is if you go through the history that they started laying track in 1868. How are they laying track in 1868 in Central City, Colorado, in the mountains, with no train nor to deliver the tracks, no steel mill to make the tracks? So, how did they get them in there? That means they had to go four wheeling. I'm telling you, when you guys put this together, you're really gonna feel, yeah. So this is taking beams for the I-70 corridor to be done. Well, I want to give you, a rail would be this long, if not longer, and you cannot go through the mountains through switchbacks and overpasses with this. It's not going to work. And especially, I've been all over Colorado. I know what the terrain's like. I know what roads they used to use for the back roads. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the government shuttled down a lot of that stuff in Colorado that was open, and I know why now. They wanted to cover this up, and hopefully nobody'd ever to figure it out again. So they're telling you Central City is pretty much the way it is after the fire. Okay, so I can show you, and this is why it's so important to look at these photographs, look at when they're telling you this church, or whatever you want to call it, house of worship, temple, healing place. Because I showed you that pointy looking castle in Denver. The only reason for that would be electricity and healing. Okay, so Central City again. This is supposed to be 1860. And that, I think, is that building right there. And then you can see how they redid it. And then, like I said, the environmentalists. All of a sudden, now we got trees in the background. There's another one, an earlier one, and you can see all the wood buildings. So 1875. So that's the thing is you can trace these buildings out through. time through their photographs, through their historical records, and you'll be able to put the puzzle together. Another earlier photograph. In this one, they have everything labeled to what it is and what it was. So, and that's in 1864. This must have been after the fire. Okay, because this church is now there, which is a marker in time. Oh, where's it at? There it is right there. So my question is how did they get brick up here? They had to build a brick plant first to make brick. Then they could start mass producing it in order to make buildings because they weren't four-wheeling with this stuff up to Salida, Colorado or Central City. And that's how I'm telling you, I'm tying it all together, that we've been here way longer than they have taught. And then you come to this photograph of Central City and you look through it and they say that it's pretty much exactly how it was after the fire. So how is it, before they even got the train, that they were able to rebuild all of this? And then the other one is when you look through history, they tell you because of the fires, there was no more wood buildings and so forth. You'll find that story in all of Colorado towns. Once they've been burned to the ground, they'll try to justify what happened and why they had to go to brick so fast. And that's the thing. I mean, you can't pull a brick out of your. Well, I mean, some people probably can, but you can't magically invent brick. It has to be made by somebody. So I'll leave this video at that. Sorry, like I said, I'll keep going, but I'm gonna go into the next one where we're actually gonna read the John Galt story, the history. But I wanted to show you guys this. So these videos are taking forever, but it's so much information. But when you understand what you've been looking for, and this is in Central City, 1886. So when did they have the fire? 1874. So this is, well, let's just do the math. 12 years. 12 years after the fire. And I want you to know, 12 years after the fire, they were able to get all of this done, lay in all the water pipe, lay in everything. And then the other one is surprising. They had a huge brewery up there. I think it's in the next one. Yeah, Rocky Mountain Brewery. Companies that you never even heard of or knew existed is our past to American history, and yet it's so overlooked. These are the this is the truth. This is the foundation for evidence right here. This stuff that I've pointed out to you. Because any court that I stand up in, as long as I'm access to all this information I have, I can without a doubt prove that our history is way longer and not what they have told us. So we'll cover this next, and then that way we ain't running this to the moon.